Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are opening up the owner's manual for the most sophisticated machine you will ever own, your own body.
Right.
We're doing a deep dive into some amazing insights from a clinical nutritionist who sees the human body not as something fragile, but as a magical machine just waiting for the right inputs.
That is the absolute core of it. We think health is so complicated, but the body is actually designed to be self-healing. It's incredibly self-sufficient.
There's a catch.
There's the caveat, yes. To maintain itself, to repair, to produce peak energy, it needs high-quality raw materials. And we're talking about the basics: the right food, good water, clean air, and, non-negotiable sleep.
So our mission today is really to cut through all that noise, the fads, the headlines that contradict each other.
All the complicated diets.
Exactly, and give you the actionable, science-backed tools to improve your energy, stabilize your mood, and maybe finally understand what's behind those constant cravings.
And we should start where it all begins: the plate. When you look for a global blueprint for a balanced meal, our sources point to the classic Indian thali, which literally means plate, and it's pointed to as potentially the, quote, best plate in the world.
That's a pretty big claim. Why the thali specifically?
Because it has intrinsic balance built right in. A traditional thali, by its very definition, has to have vegetables, it has to have carbs like rice or a flatbread.
Sure.
It has protein like dal or other pulses, and this is the key, it has a fermented element, it covers all your bases naturally. Fiber, fat, protein, probiotics, all in one meal.
Okay, so that sets the stage for a huge modern problem, which is the carb conundrum. We have to talk about wheat and specifically gluten. What has actually changed?
Well, it is not your great-grandparents' wheat.
Right.
Historically, wheat grain might have had, say, 5 or 6% gluten, but modern wheat, through genetic modification...
For what? Fluffier bread?
For softer bread, exactly, and a longer shelf life. That modern wheat can have 10, 12, sometimes even 15% gluten.
So we basically doubled or tripled the workload for our digestive system. Why is that specific concentration a problem for us?
Our bodies just didn't evolve for that. We can handle a small amount of gluten, but this overload, it just exhausts our natural digestive enzymes. They can't keep up with breaking it all down.
So what happens?
Well, the undigested stuff ferments. It creates inflammation, and that shows up as gas, acidity, bloating. And on the outside, what the source calls angry skin, rashes, acne, that sort of thing.
It's the sheer volume. And that brings us to, I think, one of the most important ideas today, the danger of naked carbs.
Absolutely. Carbs are just energy. They aren't the enemy. The trouble is when we eat them alone or naked.
So the analogy is that carbs have to be dressed up.
Yes. They need clothes in the front and they need clothes in the back.
Okay, define those clothes for us.
The clothes in the front are fiber. So raw vegetables, a small salad, some greens. The clothes in the back are protein. That's your lentils, your chicken, your beans.
So if you eat a carb naked, like a plain bowl of poha or just white pasta,
or toast with jam, it just slams into your bloodstream way too fast.
And the problem is, a lot of meals that seem balanced really aren't. I could have idli sambar, I get protein from the sambar, a carb from the idli, but there's almost no fiber.
Precisely. Or a simple vegetable sandwich. You have fiber from the veggies, but no real protein to speak of.
And that deficit is real. The data we're looking at shows 73% of people in India don't get enough protein.
That's a huge number. And many people think, I have one bowl of dal a day, I'm fine. But it's just not enough for what the body needs it for.
Which is what? Repair, immune function?
Hormones, fighting things like hair loss, skin problems. It's fundamental.
So if protein is so critical, we need a game changer. And this brings us to meal sequencing. The idea that the order you eat your food in can change everything.
This is maybe the biggest actionable insight you can use today.
Yeah.
Research shows you can cut your post-meal glucose spike by up to 40%.
40% just by changing the order.
Just by sequencing your food correctly.
That seems almost too simple. Why isn't this the first thing every nutritionist teaches?
Because we're just so conditioned to eat everything on the plate all at once. The source uses a wash basin analogy. Think of your stomach as the basin and your bloodstream as the drain pipe.
Okay.
If you just dump pure glucose, your carbs straight in, you flood the drain pipe. The goal is to choke the pipe first.
How do we choke the pipe then? What's the order?
First, you start with fiber. Your raw salad, your cucumber, your carrots. This fiber stuff has what's called resistant starch. It digests slowly and starts to physically line your stomach.
Got it. Step 1 is fiber.
Step 2, you eat about 50% of your protein. Your chicken, your fish, your lentils. by itself.
Okay, that's the part that feels weird. Eating half my chicken first.
I know, but you're laying down the foundation. And then finally, step 3. You combine the rest of your protein and fiber with your carb. The rice, the potato, the roti.
So the fiber and protein slow everything down. They delay what's called gastric emptying.
Exactly. So the glucose from the carb is released slowly and steadily. You avoid that huge spike, and you avoid the crash that always comes after.
That is a completely different way to look at a meal. It's managing the blood sugar line.
Which is the single factor that connects everything else we're going to talk about.
Right. So if we fix the mechanics of what and when we eat, the next question is why we crave the wrong things to begin with.
That afternoon sweet tooth.
Or that need for something right after dinner. We always call that psychological hunger, but our sources say it's often physiological. A hidden signal that you're lacking either protein or, and this is the surprise, salt.
This leads right into what we're calling the salt defense, and a huge historical error in nutrition. For decades, sodium was the villain.
Right. Bad for blood pressure.
Meanwhile, sugar was just accepted, ignored.
So are you telling me the fix for my chocolate craving might actually be a little more salt?
It very well could be. Let's trace the physiology. First, if you eat too much salt, your body is smart. It just exits through your urine. No big deal. Excess sugar, on the other hand, gets stored as fat. But here's the key. If you undereat salt, your kidneys go into an emergency mode to hold on to that essential mineral.
The body's trying to conserve the salt it needs.
It is. And to power that overdrive process in the kidneys, the brain tells the pancreas to release more insulin.
And insulin's job is?
Well, it does a few things. It helps the kidneys reabsorb sodium, but at the exact same time, it pulls all the available sugar out of your bloodstream.
Oh, so my body needed salt, but the mechanism it used to save the salt made my blood sugar plummet.
You got it. You feel that sharp crash, that intense hunger, and your brain just screams for the fastest energy it can find.
Sugar.
Sugar. The real need was a mineral, but the symptom was a sugar craving.
That makes so much sense. And this need for salt connects directly to another huge issue: hydration. We drink water, but if it doesn't have minerals, our body can't really use it.
Exactly. Tap water, filtered water, a lot of bottled water. It's just H2O, it's stripped. For your body to actually hydrate, the water needs to get inside your cells intracellularly, not just slosh around outside them.
So what's the simple fix for that? How do we mineralize it?
One tiny crystal of pure rock salt, like Himalayan pink salt or Kari Namak, put it on your tongue right before you drink water.
That's it?
That's it. The minerals dissolve and basically tell your body how to absorb the water properly. If you're always thirsty or you drink water and have to use the bathroom 5 minutes later, you're not absorbing it. Mineralized water fixes that.
And even mild dehydration is a big deal. We're talking, what, a 2% drop can affect memory, mood, focus?
It affects everything. Which brings us to the one non-negotiable that governs all of this: sleep.
Right.
Lifestyle determines 70% of how we age, not genetics, and sleep deprivation just throws the whole machine into chaos.
The data on sleep and blood sugar is, frankly, terrifying. Research shows two people can eat the exact same breakfast.
The identical meal.
But the person who slept 6 hours will have a much higher, much more damaging glucose spike than the person who slept 8 hours. Your sleep directly controls your blood sugar.
And that's just your metabolism. Lack of sleep kills repair. Statistically, sleeping 6 hours instead of 7 or 8 makes you 40% more likely to get fractures and osteoporosis.
Because your bones are rebuilding while you sleep.
Yes. And we have to define fake sleep. This is when people use depressants, usually alcohol, to fall asleep faster.
It feels like it's helping.
It's a trick. It knocks you out, but it disrupts your deep restorative REM cycle. So you wake up exhausted because your body never actually did the repair work it needed to do.
And speaking of things that trick our brain, we have to talk about sugar addiction. The source material is very clear on this. Sugar hits the exact same dopamine reward centers in the brain as cocaine.
That's right. And neurochemically, it's about 8 times more addictive than cocaine.
8 times.
Yeah.
I think we just need to let that sink in. We talk about having a sweet tooth like it's some cute personality quirk.
Right.
But we're dealing with a substance that is profoundly addictive and it's everywhere.
It is. And because it's everywhere and so addictive, you have to have a crisis management strategy. For when you're in a slump, you're burned out, stressed.
That's when things fall apart.
Yes, because the failure point isn't that you plan to eat badly, it's the total lack of planning that leaves you vulnerable.
So the actionable tip for when you know a crisis is coming:
you create a detailed 10-day cyclic menu before the crisis hits. Plan your breakfast, lunch, dinner, maybe for just 2 or 3 days that you repeat. Prep the ingredients. The whole goal is to eliminate decision fatigue.
So when you're low, you don't have to think. You just follow the plan.
You just follow the plan. And during that time, you focus on 5 things.
Okay, what are they?
1, high protein to keep your blood sugar stable. 2, good fats, avocado, nuts, ghee for satiety. 3, magnesium-rich foods like seeds or dark leafy greens. They are critical for calming anxiety and helping you sleep.
That makes sense.
4, enhanced hydration, that mineralized water so you don't confuse thirst for hunger. And 5, and this is important, plan for small amounts of comfort or love eating.
Don't be too rigid.
Rigid perfection always fails. Plan flexibility is what survives.
This is a phenomenal survival guide. We've covered, the Thali principles, dressing your naked carbs, the power of meal sequencing, fixing those hidden salt cravings, and now protecting yourself with a crisis plan.
And the final idea, the thing that ties it all together, is blood sugar stability. Your machine hates those wild peaks and crashes. When you manage that, your physical energy is stable, but so is your mental acuity.
We talk about brain food.
But really, mental sharpness depends on gut-friendly food.
And here's the final provocative thought to leave everyone with. For every 1 signal the brain sends down to the gut sends 9 signals back up to the brain.
Think about that ratio, 9 to 1. Your hydration, your carb sequencing, your protein, your stress. It's not just controlling your stomach. It is directly controlling your ability to focus, to handle difficulty, to regulate your mood.
You've been given this incredible self-healing machine.
Respect the raw materials it needs, apply these small changes, and you really will unlock massive results in your energy and your vitality.